Rooster Teeth has had a rough week. 2 of its prominent employees fired under alleged inappropriate behavior, some with fans. Of course, I'm talking about namely one Adam Kovic and another Ryan Haywood. And while the case for Adam's promiscuous actions has become a bit of a cold case, in this game of Jenga, Ryan's tower is about to fall. Now, if you're at all familiar with what's been going on the past week or so at RT, you'll know it's not looking great. And if you're not familiar, I implore you to please go watch my first video on this subject. It is linked in the card above and in the description below. I remember in my last video saying that there wasn't a lot of evidence going around the community. That has changed. So how serious are these allegations really? And how does this level of fame cause somebody to think that they can get away with it? I'm here to present the evidence, and I'm leaving it up to you to decide how you feel about it. Here's where we stand. Over the last week or so, Ryan has accumulated some 30 alleged affairs of inappropriate behavior, either via online engagement or in person hanky-panky. 2 of these persons having clear accusations of illegal behavior with evidence, for which I will explain in a moment. There are also a couple of examples, one in particular that has allegations against Ryan from 4chan, however evidence is lacking and therefore leaves it legally dubious. And I must preface this by saying all accounts and accusations made in this video are merely allegations. None of them have been proven in a court of law, and if these people wanted to take it there, they should, and not do it online. I do not claim that any of these are particularly true stories, but some of the evidence is pretty damning. But let's rewind a bit. After a whirlwind of photographs and videos presented itself firstly on a bodybuilding forum, it wasn't until these images eventually clawed their way to 4chan that the story really took off. The initial accusations of illegal behavior against Ryan seem to have originated on this 4chan political board, in a post riddled with anti-liberal sentiment, so that kind of seems to be some motivation for this. Though the first riveting piece of evidence came from a girl named Tessa, who in a rather emotional video, according to her, at the time of their meeting was a huge fan of Ryan. So their relationship quickly evolved from a fan-friendly meetup to something a bit more frisky. Exchanging various lewd photographs, they never ended up meeting in person. However, she failed to mention to Ryan that she was underage. In fact, she peddled the opposite. That aside, she let us know that she wasn't the only one.
It all started when Ryan made an Instagram in August 2017.
This is Michelle, someone whose admiration for Ryan quickly turned into something much more intimate. See, she too has relations with Ryan Haywood, and was also underage. Having known him since 2017, backing up her claims with various screenshots, what really stood out to me was this statement.
I thought that maybe if I could satisfy his physical needs, then his marriage could continue to stay happy and loving.
See, she thought she was helping him, but little did she know, everything was about to change. And not for the better. This is by far the most important account against Ryan, legally speaking. With screenshots, photographic evidence, and a rather graphic storyline that I'll let you go and watch, it gave me some shivers. Again though, I'm not an attorney, I don't know where this will go, so I'm gonna leave that part up to the experts. Though after watching this, looking through various other accusations, you began to see a bit of a pattern. These relationships, if in fact you can call them relationships, usually came from an innocent means, but quickly spiraled into something a little more sexual. And for Ryan, when you're in the public eye, with adoring fans looking to get some sort of attention from you, that feeling in and of itself can be infectious. And I fear for Ryan, this infection quickly became a fever for lust. And while now a lot of these accusations span back even a few years, some of the much more recent accusers have even been in contact with Ryan as recent as a few weeks ago. showing that this was a long-term problem. And for the most part, many of the persons involved were consenting adults, many with details that I can only say are a bit risque at minimum. Not everyone painted Ryan in a terrible picture. One person saying, "He comforted me when I was dealing with a difficult home situation and mental health issues, even offering up to $1,000 to help her with her financial situation at home." But in these conversations, it always led to something more. And she mentions mental health, something that is a recurring theme among some of the other accusers. Knowing this, if in fact it is true, means that some of these people were in a rather vulnerable state, something that I'm sure Ryan took note of. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not gonna pretend that I know all of the vulgar details, and the truth is we may never know the full extent to some of these stories. But Ryan did come out admitting, "I flirted and had sexual relations with members of the community." And by now you may have noticed several employees, including Rooster Teeth, making a statement based on this company's code of conduct. A code that Ryan clearly violated and therefore was terminated for. Adam and Ryan's colleagues have been very vocal about how they have felt, using words like horror, disappointment, and anger. And now they're all left to pick up the pieces.
I mean, I have to apologize to the community. You guys, I'm sorry we let you down. I'm sorry this happened.
Though let me remind you, this situation isn't the first of its kind by any means. Insert here, Yogscast. In case you don't remember or you weren't around for this scandal, it was only about a year ago when individuals from another prominent YouTube channel of 7 million subscribers were seen quickly leaving the company after allegedly using their positions at the company to solicit things from fans. And listen, YouTube doesn't like it when I say sending photos of underage individuals, so instead I'm going to replace this phrase with kittens. And there were a lot of these kittens sent back and forth, kind of like with Ryan. It begs the question, why does this happen? From grooming to adultery to somebody losing their V card, the severity of Ryan's alleged behavior has only escalated. Assuming that we can trust these accusations, I think it's important that we examine the fan-personality relationship. In a little analogy, imagine your favorite band is coming to town, a band you were just dying to see, and you so happen to have front row seats. At the end of the concert, one of the bandmates had taken notice of you out in the fray and invited you to come backstage. To which you say, You're in awe of meeting possibly your idol. But that's when things get a little weird. They start asking things of you, things that like a normal person when you first meet them probably wouldn't ask. Maybe they want to see some kittens. See, this person knows you're a huge fan. They know that you're probably willing to almost do anything for attention. And like Ryan, this bandmate may be willing to use his position against you. And while that may have been a poor analogy, I think it kind of speaks true to the way some people feel about their online idols today. Though if you ask Ryan in his statement, he feels a little bit different about this. "I never set out to hurt anyone. I'm continually saddened to learn that my actions have contributed to anyone's pain, as my actions, as inappropriate as they were, always came from a place of shared connection." A shared connection, perhaps, but how many connections does one need? There are maybe 20 or more accusations pointed at Ryan right now, possibly with overlapping timelines, which shows clearly that one connection was not enough for this guy. Of course, we must take each of these accusations with a grain of salt. I cannot confirm all of these stories, but some of the evidence is not looking great. But I think we need to really look at the bigger picture, something that I don't think a lot of people will touch on. With any evolving story, things are always subject to change. Therefore, our mindsets need to be open to this change. We may never know the full unfiltered story. And at this time, Ryan has not been formally charged with anything. But with the amount of evidence presented, especially from those who are underage individuals, I wouldn't be surprised if something does come of it legally down the line. At the same time, I keep seeing people calling for the end of Rooster Teeth. And I think we need to separate the man from the company for a second. I don't think we should lump all of Rooster Teeth, or his colleagues for that matter, into this horrible picture frame. Without a doubt, it's already tarnished Rooster Teeth's record. Something that they really didn't need right now. So I implore you, if you still like Rooster Teeth, to keep watching them. But the bigger lesson I think we can all learn from this Ryan situation is that you never know what goes on behind the scenes. And the people you think you know behind the lens aren't always what they seem. And finally, I want to thank Hattie, who's done a bunch of the research for all of this. Thank you so much. You can find all of it on Reddit. The link is in the description below. Remember, I'm Ryan, and I'll see you in the next video.